Tzedec in Toronto, Ontario, Canada this morning or this afternoon. Chol Hamoed Sukkot, Mo'odin L'Simcha to everyone who's visiting us from wherever you are. My guest is my colleague, Rabbi Robyn Fryer Bodzin, the Associate Rabbi at Beth Tzedec and the founding director, coordinator, guru of our Center for Spiritual Well-Being. Hi, Rabbi. Welcome. How you feeling?
Hi. How you doing?
It's been a crazy high holiday season, huh? What when you look back, though we're still in the midst of it technically, right? We still have Shmini Atzeret and Simchat Torah to come at the end of the code. But when you look back at it, what are some of the things that stand out for you?
I really love the opportunity to daven with people in the room. That was really wonderful. I loved the opportunity to take time to craft sermons that spoke to people where they were at and leave politics out of it, to talk about concerns and thoughts. I loved the feedback. I loved that my father joined for many of the Yontiv meals. We put him in our bubble. I liked having a nap on Yontiv afternoon for a little bit. I loved the shofar blowing in the parking lot. It was pretty wonderful. It was a lot of work went into it, and it left me with a tremendous amount of joy with anything that I guess that I did that was in like my power and my control. It showed well. And so that made me really, really happy. I don't think it was just adequate. I actually think it was excellent. And as someone who always strives for excellence, I felt good about that. The only negative thing is that because of COVID, I can't, go out and do something awesome to treat myself that I would have in another situation or another circumstance.
So I just want to let everybody know who's watching, if you want to see Rabbi Fryer Bodzin's sermons, you can access them from our website, www.beth-tzedec.org, or from our YouTube channel. Beth Tzedec Congregation is our YouTube channel, and I think my sermons are there as well. So, happy hunting. Was there anything that surprised you about these high holy days?
What surprised me was that at the last minute, we actually could have people with us in the room. For those of you who don't know this, we created everything assuming it was just going to be the spiritual leadership team, some staff, and cantor official, Mayor Brisman, and the choir. And then in the end, what was it, a week before?
A week and a half before.
Yeah, we found out we could have people. So that was done really, really quickly. And that was great. I think I was also surprised to learn that I, in fact, do work well under pressure, whereas usually I plan things way far in advance, and to be forced to do things last minute and to learn that I could do it, that was a nice life lesson, because that's not the way I work ever.
I think, as I've been saying all along, that the key at this moment is really flexibility. When you're dealing with such uncertainties and unknowns, having to pivot at drop of a hat is hard, but it's also something that we have to prepare ourselves for. So, Rabbi, you're a native Torontonian. You've been away for 20 years. 23 years, right? To Florida, Israel, California, Chicago. Am I missing any place in there?
Yeah, a decade in New York.
Oh yeah, New York. I forgot about New York. New York. and New York. Yeah. What's it like being home?
It's the best. One of my extracurriculars outside of shul is my family. I don't actually see them, most of them now, because of COVID, but I was at the beginning, and I hadn't done that as an adult ever, and it's pretty wonderful. There were a number of Sundays in June and July, not so much in August, where I was at my aunt and my cousin's cottage for a few afternoons during the day. It's on the southern part of Lake Simcoe and Willow Beach, not too far. So that was great, socially distanced, the whole 9 yards. That was wonderful. I try and go for a walk with my cousin Toba on Friday mornings. If you don't see me at Minion, that's why. it's the best. I mean, there's this support system that's here. Again, COVID's kind of screwing that all up, but it'll be gone one day. And just to be able to know that my daughter is being raised in a city where she understands the concept of cousins and aunts and uncles and great aunts and uncles and a Bubi and a Zeta, it's pretty darn wonderful.
And what about catching up with friends and people from high school and even beyond that? I mean, what are the ways that time has stood still and time seems like it's sped forward?
Right. So I don't know if you know this, but I'm a rabbi at Beth Tzedec, so I work 5 million hours a week. So finding the time to see friends doesn't always happen, but there are some good ones out there who hack at me, and we make it. So I'd say there's a few that I speak on the phone the same way if I'd lived in other places, and then there's a number that I do get to see. One of them invited me over to her sukkah tomorrow night. She's actually a member of our congregation, Allison and Derek Sherman. And if we can do it via social distancing, we're going to try and get over there to see that. What's wonderful is that everywhere I turn, there's somebody that I know, whether it's my huge extended family or it's someone that I went to either Associated or Chat or Camp Katanim or York or USY with. They're everywhere. Shabbos walking home, I took the back roads, like Peveril Hill, so not to take Bathurst. And there was someone in a car and I like made eye contact. I thought it was someone. And then I checked Facebook Sunday night yesterday, and an old friend from Associated, who I probably hadn't seen since grade 8, reached out and said, I thought that was you. I didn't want to wave because it was Shabbat. And I let her know, first of all, it's so amazing that we could see each other, and always wave at me. Just because you're in a car and I'm not in a car, like you do what you do on Shabbat, I do what I do on Shabbat. I would have loved to have had that conversation to reconnect again.
And one of the things that you're here doing is starting up the Center for Jewish Spiritual Well-Being. It's a new concept for Beth Tzedec. It's a new concept for Synagogue in GTA and possibly even in all of Canada. Funded generously by Beth Tzedec, currently with a $2.5 million endowment. The Rabbi Baruch Friedman Cole endowment, named for our Rabbi Emeritus.
And our friend.
And our friend, and our rabbi.
And someone that we love and adore and respect.
Exactly. Everybody should be so lucky to have a Rabbi Emeritus like Rav Baruch.
Oh yeah.
Tell us a little bit about what the center is, what it's doing, where you hope to take it into the future.
So we've pivoted a little as well with that. The idea originally was for people to enlarge their understanding of what shul is or what synagogue is. And it's not just a place where you go to daven, it's also a place where you can be a member of a community that supports you. And so we've put together a group of people, of advisors, to really think out of the box, to create opportunities for people who feel disconnected. People felt disconnected before COVID happened. We somehow forget that. People who were alone, or people who are alone during COVID, were also alone before COVID, and it was rough for them even back then. So imagine how much rougher it is for them now. And so we've created concepts like meditation and mindfulness. We did a number of series in the wintertime, our Winter Wellbeing series, on helping those in vulnerable situations, elderly parents or comforting bereaved or whatnot. We spoke at length, both of us, in sermons over the high holidays about our bereavement group for people who have been affected by COVID. And there's also a lot more relationship building. There's a connection between the small groups as well. And apparently I'm getting the reputation as, just being out there and creating the opportunity to create these relationships and connect. And one of the coolest things we did was working with Bluth, Rabbi Rachel Rosenbluth. We did Soul Brew for every morning for about a month and a week, from Elul until just last week before Yom Kippur, just to really think what's in your soul, what's percolating for you. And it was called Soul Brew, and it was an amazing, amazing success.
Right, which if people are interested seeing that, they can find it on Facebook and also on YouTube, on our YouTube channel and Facebook pages. It was 15 minutes of inspirational videos from thought leaders and artisans from around the world, with a reach of well over 10,000 people.
Yeah, you did an early one, I did a late one, but
it was fabulous. So some people think that all rabbis do is the leading prayers and sermons and teaching Yiddishkeit within the synagogue and so forth and so on. But one of the things that I know both of us are involved in, and one of the things that certainly drove me to Beth Tzedec was that it had a view of itself beyond its own four walls, that it wanted its leadership to be involved in the community and to do leadership roles that were external to Beth Tzedec, but still important to the Jewish community. What are the things that you're doing that we would say are for Am Yisrael?
I have a few things that I'm doing, again, in my non-existent free time. I have been on the executive council for the Rabbinical Assembly, the Global Rabbinical Assembly. I'm in my 6th year, 3rd term, finally terming out. For context, in my own head, I started that when I was pregnant, and my daughter is now 5.5. So in many ways, I feel like I've been doing it like forever and ever. But I've been involved in the RA, the Rabbinical Assembly, during a time of immense change, immense innovation, immense creativity, which has been really rewarding. And I thought I was going to step away, but I was asked to be on the nominations committee. So just as I come off the executive council, I'm going to go on to the nominating committee.
Sounds like The Godfather. Just when I thought I was out, they pulled me back in.
Right. I'm part of so many networks because I've lived in so many cities and I've gone to so many different schools. So I actually know many, many rabbis, which makes me an excellent candidate to be on the nominations committee. And I've also locally really been shopping around my leadership within Toronto. Right now, I found a comfortable place with the Neshama Hospice, which is Canada's first residential hospice based on Jewish values. And I've been asked to be on their cultural committee, and I've participated in a number of meetings and brainstorming sessions already. There's a really natural connection between Beth Tzedec and Neshama Hospice. As one of the founders is Debbie Berlin, who's on our advisory council for the Center for Spiritual Wellbeing, and she and I facilitate the COVID group together. And so she actually spoke about our group at an educational fountain for them. So that's, I feel very comfortable in that environment and meeting new people. And as it turns out, the architect for the Neshama Hospice is a distant relative of mine. So his father and my Zeta Max, were first cousins. And that just blew me away. And then I was at another educational thing for them. And then one of my mother's first cousins was there. And it's just like, woo, we're everywhere in this town. So that kind of happens everywhere. And it's a lot of fun.
Do you know that Jody has a cousin in Toronto? That her grandmother, I think this is either a sister or a brother. It's their child, and live around the corner from us and are members of Holy Blossom.
That's amazing.
It's like, it gives rise to the Jewish conspiracy theories.
Oh yeah, absolutely. But then, I mean, it's not an extracurricular, but it's something that I'm really proud to do. Again, pre-COVID, activities used to be go to Bobby and Zeta's house, spend a couple hours over there, which is just fantastic. And I'm trying hard to be a part of the RHA Parents Committee as well. I don't always make it to those things as much as I would like to.
What other things have you done external to the specifics of a rabbinic position?
Well, if you can have a drum roll, please. Since April 19th, I have walked 1,960 kilometers. I am part of a group of people who I've never met, who are all trying to walk across Canada. So on April 17th or 19th, we started at the edge of BC. I've gone through British Columbia. I've gone through Alberta, And I'm a little bit more than halfway through Saskatchewan right now. And it has saved me. The month of July, I was doing great. I was averaging 15 kilometers a day. I also took vacation for a week and a half during that time. Now my monthly average is about 12 kilometers per day. In fact, right after this, I'm going to, someone said at Minion this morning, oh, it's a beautiful day for a walk. And my day is stacked with meetings in the morning and meetings at night with a big empty chunk during the day. So about 10 minutes before we got on, I called the person who said that. And I said, what are you doing at 1:30? You want to go take a walk? So I'm going to try and get some of my steps in that way. And I also got steps in this morning during the Hoshanot, because I walked around my desk in circles. And I said, oh, 300 steps, not bad. That was exciting.
How's been the view, especially in Saskatchewan?
What? Pardon?
How's the view, especially in Saskatchewan?
It kind of looks beautiful. Lots of fall foliage. Something that you and I have discussed many times, that if I don't make my minimum step count in a day, I get very, what's the word you would use?
That's the word I would use.
And not happy.
Can I say it publicly?
No. So it's not uncommon for me, if I don't make it outdoors, to be on my exercise machine in front of something on Netflix at 11:30 at night so I can get there. I need it for my mental health, and I'm very vocal about that, so people know that I don't just encourage people to exercise, I do it myself too. I know you like to do some stuff outside of shul also in your non-existent free time. What kind of stuff do you do, Reb Steve?
There's free time. There's only made time. That's like
right.
Well, so look, like you, I have interests that go beyond the specifics of my job. I am continuing to serve for the Masorti conservative movement worldwide on the Board of Governors of the Jewish Agency of Israel, and on the involved with the World Zionist Organization through Merkaz Canada and Merkaz Olami. Merkaz is the conservative movement's Zionist party to the World Zionist Organization. And as a result of our collective activity there, our movement receives about $4 million worth of funding for a variety of Jewish pluralism and engagement projects that go mostly to support our colleagues around the world in Masorti Olami that are building communities in Europe, in India, in Australia, Asia, South America, and so forth, as well as to youth Zionist programs. And so I'm involved in that. And right now there's a strategic planning process taking place for Merkaz Olami, and I'm one of the co-chairs of that project. I'm really excited about that because it allows me to continue my leadership in the movement, but also to be engaged worldwide with the reform movement, with different streams of orthodoxy, with the federation system, and others.
And hopefully it also enables you to get to Israel, which neither you or I have done in so long. I haven't been since February.
Yeah, so as you know, and as many people know, my oldest daughter lives in Israel. It's been almost a year now since I've been able to see her because of COVID. And so, that hopefully is part of it. But we'll have to wait, of course, until circumstances allow for that to happen, both in Israel here and around the world. So I'm involved with Merkaz. I'm also involved with the Jaffa Institute for the Advancement of Education, which is like my favorite international tzedakah that helps.
How have I never heard of this? I've never heard of this.
I don't know, but
please tell us.
But it's the Jaffa Institute was started more than 30 years ago, and it has a 97% success rate, which means that 97% of the children that the Jaffa Institute supports pass their Bogrut at high school and then go on to the army. And so right now they're reaching about 25% of the poor children within the city of Yafo. And they've expanded a little bit beyond that. And so there's about 6,000 plus kids that they engage. Hot meal, dental work, tutoring, camp, after school activities. It's really an amazing organization. I've been involved with them for a long time. And then for my own well-being, I ride my bike long distances, usually anywhere from 30 now to 45 kilometers a time. And I try during the season to ride at least twice a week. Got a couple, 3 times a week in there, which was good. And I'm training for the Ramah Israel bike ride, which has been postponed until next October. We'll see what happens with that, but that's a 300-mile ride in the northern part of Israel, and it raises money for the Tikva programs, which is special needs programs at Camp Ramah. So that's what I do in my proverbial free time.
I think it's really important that our viewers know that we both have, and we speak about this all the time, both in front of them and behind them, that we both have unbelievable supportive spouses.
Yeah, for sure. Not only unbelievable supportive spouses, but very independent and competent people in their own rights.
Right. Who thankfully have become friends, which helps.
Right.
It
helps them and it helps us.
Absolutely. I just me would not be able to do so much of what I do for the shul, also being a parent to a 5-year-old, without an unbelievable husband, who he's my rock. He does it all. And so I'm so grateful for him. And even the little things that I don't know and the big things that I do know, it makes a huge difference.
And I would add to that, I've never been in a place that has been so supportive of my taking a vacation, I think, than Beth Tzedec. And not just as a vacation. It's like, I mean, I feel as a rabbi, like extremely supported by the lay leadership in the congregation. And when people, ask me how I'm doing, they're really, it's a real question. It's not a throwaway question.
Yeah.
And so that's made it helpful too, that, obviously for me, Jody has always been that rock. And in fact, when we first met, for me, part of her fierce independence was one of the things that really attracted me to her. And certainly she's maintained that throughout our relationship and our lives together. But the synagogue too, is just really, really supportive, and I find that to be very helpful. When you look at the next couple of months and you look at this program year, what is it that you're looking forward to?
I'm looking forward to teaching text. I'm teaching a class on the book of Job. I haven't taught text in a really, really long time. And in many ways, that's one of my natural habitats. So I'm really looking forward to that. It's in November, lunchtimes, I think. That's a highlight for me. I'm looking forward to the B'nai Mitzvah, however they're going to look, because we have quite a few coming up. I have to be honest, I still have a wall after Simchat Torah. Like, I know there's a lot coming on. The fact that I was able to lift the curtain after Yom Kippur and move into Sukkot and Shmini Atzeret and Simchat Torah is huge, because that was like a heavy something to move. I know there's a rest of the world after that. That's what I'm looking forward to, those things happening.
Awesome.
I'm actually very grateful also just to be here in Toronto, where we're not so politically charged, and it's really comfortable. One of my supports that's not local is a group of rabbis. We're all women, we're all moms, we all work in shuls, and I think we have it a lot easier here in some ways.
Well, there's less. There's definitely less. I think social political anxiety. Mm-hmm. I talk to a lot of my friends in the States, and it's palpable. And there's also, unfortunately, I think there's a growing fear of unrest around the election and the election results.
Oh, wait, we said we weren't talking sex, religion, or politics. Sorry, that was my bad. I should have done that.
Well, we talked about religion, and then you brought up politics, but we'll leave We'll leave
My
that
bad.
topic alone.
Well, we talked about our spouses. I think something else that maybe our viewers would like to know is that we actually kind of like each other.
Oh, don't let that get out. That
Slightly unprecedented and even happened before these unprecedented times. But I think that people get that in many ways and they see that. And I hope that comes across.
Yeah, I mean,
we have respect for each other. Sometimes I let you talk, it's good.
But, we didn't know, people might not be aware of this, but you and I knew each other before we got here, but we didn't really know each other. Right? I mean,
yes. My daughter, so you knew that. We were together a little on Sukkot, and you were there when Ariella said she doesn't remember that we used to have a sukkah. So right. I took out one of our photo albums that was 2017, and it starts with our sukkah in New York, and then the next page is being in Israel for the World Zionist Congress. We were both there together. There's actually a picture of me and you and baby Ariella. She looks at, that's Rabbi Steve. Why is he there? Did we know him then? It was hysterical.
Well, I mean, we did know each other, right? We traveled in the same circles. As you and I once told the story in the congregation, we both, when we really got to know each other, we were under a bus. We were
not a metaphor.
Not a metaphor. We were literally under the bus. Right? We were on an RA mission, a Masorti mission or something like that. And the bus.
We went to Google. We went to Google in Tel Aviv.
Google in Tel Aviv. And on the way down south, I think the bus broke down and everybody else decided to stay on the sweltering bus. And you and me and Asher Konigsberg asked the bus driver to open up the baggage section underneath both sides. And we were underneath there in the shade as the breeze was coming through. It was the best spot on the whole thing. And
because we're smart.
Smart Alex, for sure. But it is, I think it is very nice to have a partner that shares a vision for Yiddishkeit, brings a complementary set of skills and personality, and with whom you enjoy spending time with. It certainly makes the work life much easier. And I would expand that. I think we're really lucky that we have the spiritual leadership team that we have at Beth Tzedec, where we all get along and have mutual respect and are really committed to the vision and the mission. And it's one of the reasons why we're able to do so many things as well as we are, is that we have that kind of camaraderie and collegiality. So that certainly makes it easier.
100%.
Okay, we got a minute or two left. What else is there? What else do you want to talk about? What do you want people to know?
I know I was very nervous to do this. I want to know who's going to laugh and not believe me when they hear that part. I want COVID to be done. I miss seeing people in the building. I hope I'm allowed to say that. Am I allowed to say that?
Yeah.
Because it's true. And I get it why we don't. I fully get it. Wear a mask, wash your hands, social distance. We do it all the time. It is just.
As we know, I think everybody wants, at this point, we want it to be over with. Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, the reality is it's going to be a little while longer.
I know.
And we all have to continue to adapt. But the most important thing, as you said, and I think we'll emphasize, and with this we'll close, the most important thing is do the things that we know work. Yeah. Wear a mask, wash your hands frequently, and when you can maintain a physical distance of 2 meters, or hockey stick, 2 lulavim, do that. Because that's what's going to keep you and your loved ones and our community safe. I know that you join me in a shout out and our deepest expression of gratitude and awe and appreciation to all of the medical professionals, everyone who works to support medical professionals, all the people that are working those frontline essential services that keep our supply lines running, that enable us to have food and shelter and so forth, and appreciation to the government that's continuing to spend money necessary in order to enable the most vulnerable in our societies to have a fighting chance, and to all the people that are doing the work to deliver those services and to especially help the vulnerable. Thank you. May God bless you and keep you. To Rabbi Robyn, thank you.
Bodzin l'simcha.
Bodzin l'simcha. Just a couple words of announcements on Wednesday night. Beth Tzedec is pleased to bring back Professor Stephen Burke, who's.
I'm so excited for this, by the way.
Well, there's well over 200 registrations already, which means that there's probably over 400 people that are going to be watching him. Professor Burke's topic is going to be the U.S. elections, Trump, Biden, and the future. As I somewhat jokingly, but not really, say hashtag, isn't it nice to live in Canada? But Stephen will be with us to talk about that. And we look forward to bringing back a couple other times during this year for these virtual lectures and conversations. He's always a favorite of ours with Beth Tzedec in the GTA. So if you want to do that, you do need to pre-register. You can do that from our website. Information about Shmini Atzeret and Simchat Torah are available on our website. Yizkor next Shabbat will probably be at approximately 11 a.m. All that'll be live streamed. And everything that's happening at Beth Tzedec, all the different opportunities for you to be involved, not only to participate in programs of the Center for Spiritual Wellbeing, but in services and classes, in get-togethers and gatherings, whatever you can imagine is there, and whatever you can imagine that's not there, let us know. And we're happy to work together to make that happen. One last thing is... I
wanted the last word.
Yeah, I'll give you the last word.
Good. So this is a regular conversation.
I'll say one thing, and then you can have the last word. Manish Tanaha Laila. We've launched this year 15 new small groups. That's in addition to like the 8, 9, 10, 11 that we've already launched. These small groups are opportunities for people to gather in more intimate settings around shared affinities and ideas. We have a couple that already have waiting lists, which is great. But that information is available on our website too. And we encourage you to find this as a way to really get involved and get to know people more one-on-one. And if there's a small group program that you're interested in launching, let Yaakov Fruchter know, and we'll be happy to support you in doing that. Robyn, you get the last word.
If you haven't figured out, we are not way up here rabbis. We're over here rabbis. We're available. We're accessible. We can do coffee with you. We can go for walks. Just reach out. I think our insanely, ridiculously busy schedule has lessened a little bit, which means we actually have a lot more time. And so I'd love to get to know any of you better. That was my last word. And Steve, this has been fun. I don't think we're going to see each other in real life today. I'm working from home all day.
Yeah, I have a couple of funerals today, so.
Hence the tie. I get it. Thanks, everyone. This has been so fun.
Modi l'simcha. Bye-bye.